Ahead on Full Contact Fighter, the best of Full Contact Fighter this summer. Conan Silveira, the Brazilian black belt. And Carlos Newton, the Canadian Zen warrior. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Full Contact Fighter. I'm Michael Landsberg. As our first season draws to a close, we thought this would be a great time to look back at some of the stories that we've shown you on Full Contact Fighter. Stories that you can't see anyplace else. Stories like the great Canadian Zen warrior Carlos Newton making his return to fighting after almost a year's absence. And what a return. Stories like Conan Silveira. We've known for years he's one of the best at jiu-jitsu in the world, but could he prove it in mixed martial arts? But perhaps the biggest story of the year. Let's put this more definitively. The story of the year in mixed martial arts was the return of the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock.
From a troubled childhood in group homes and orphanages, he became a legend, fighting for survival on the streets, fighting for fame in the UFC, a superstar in the World Wrestling Federation. He's come back to the no-holds-barred world to complete some unfinished business.
I'd just like to say that I've been out of commission in this no-holds-barred for about 4 years. And I've been watching it on TV, I've been watching it in the locker rooms when I'm with the WWF, and it's been burning inside of me the way I left no-holds-barred. I didn't leave on my terms. I left on somebody else's terms. So I have one announcement to make, and that announcement is that I have signed a deal with Pride to fight 2 fights.
I'm risking a lot, but I mean, that's what people say. I'm risking a lot. Here I had a great job, a great character. Things are going great for me now. I'm going back to no holds barred where I stand a chance I could lose. Losing is not what it's all about. It's being able to live out your dreams and do the things that you want to do in life. And I am one of those people that are, few people that are fortunate to be able to do the things that I want to do in life.
His decision to return to the fighting game has sparked debate all over the world, and not everyone thinks he's made the right decision by coming back.
We talked about it a lot last time we talked, and I just, I think it's a bad move. I think everyone thinks it's a bad move. But I think, I think he's hard-headed. I think he's very, very proud and has a huge, huge ego. I think he needs to come back for himself to try. He never won the big one. I think he wants to come back and try and win that big one. I just don't think it's the time. I think it's done. I think he needs to let it go.
His time has passed. He needs to get on and go to do his WWF stuff and make money doing that. That's his thing now. Guys are getting so good now, it's a different style of fighting. I mean, it's a new generation of fighters. That's what it has become. So his time's over.
I understand what they're saying, and personally, I was one of the ones that said, at age 30 or 32, you should be thinking about getting out, not getting back in. And I would tell anybody that when they first come in, hey, you're a little old to be getting started. It's true, and their thoughts are true. I know what they're thinking. I'm not doing it just to come back and do it. I'm doing this for a reason. One is it's in my blood. It's what I got to do to finish and go out the way I want to go out. And like I said, I'm going in and fighting and do what I love to do.
Shamrock will be fighting in the Pride 2000 Grand Prix. His opponent will be highly regarded Japanese star Alexander Otsuka.
So this fight for me is going to be, a real awakening. It's not going to be one of those ones where I'm going to go out there and just destroy this kid. But I will go out and fight. I guarantee you this will be a good fight. It's going to be like a street fight. That's the way I fight. That's the way I'm going to fight. And you ain't going to see much skill. Straight up ass kicking. I know how to do that. I've done it all my life.
Shamrock's training regimen has been especially grueling. At 36, his body does not perform or recover like it used to. It's been a tough road back, but he's willing to pay the price for himself and his sport.
Hopefully, and this is what I'm hoping, that by my coming back and fighting, that it would give the no-holds-barred world a shot in the arm, because I'm bringing in people from the mainstream who didn't know anything about no-holds-barred. who are fans in the WWF, who are going to be interested in seeing what is going on. And they're going to turn the TV on and they're going to go, wow, this is great. And it's going to be enough audience to where it's going to bring it back.
We caught up with Ken Shamrock at Guy Mesger's gym in Dallas before his fight, his return to mixed martial arts with Alexander Otsuka. Otsuka not thought of as an overly dangerous fighter, but he did come up with a victory over Marco Huas. The thing about Otsuka is this: professional wrestler, very tough, and most figuring he was able to take a punch, and against the world's most dangerous man, chances are he was going to have to take a few. We'll pick it up with Shamrock on the right in the orange trunks, Otsuka on the left. Shamrock has already connected as Otsuka is bleeding from the nose. Shamrock is definitely the aggressor, cutting off the ring, while Otsuka seems to be tiring, breathing from his mouth only now. Igor Vovchanchyn was able to land an overhand right on Otsuka. That's the punch Shamrock's corner continues to call for. Shamrock's doing a good job of keeping the fight standing. Otsuka tries a little offense in the form of a pro wrestling-like charge off the ropes. Nothing doing here. Shamrock is in control of this bout, and he starts throwing some leather. Otsuka retreats and tries to tie up. Shamrock goes to the knees. He continues to press the attack, throwing bombs. Finally, Otsuka goes down. One more for good measure, and they stop the bout. A successful return to mixed martial arts by Ken Shamrock as he's joined in the ring for the post-match celebration by his Lions Den teammates. I think you'd have to call that a very impressive return to the ring for Ken Shamrock. Keep in mind that Alexander Otsuka faced Igor Vovchanchyn, thought of as one of the hardest punchers on the planet. Vovchanchyn hit him with his best shots, couldn't knock him out. Something Ken Shamrock did. Next up for Shamrock will be Pride 10, the return of the Warriors. He'll face another Japanese pro wrestler, Fujita, who's coming off a shocking upset of Mark the Specimen Kerr. Other bouts on this great-looking card include Ensign Inoue facing Igor Vovchanchyn, Gilbert Yvel taking on Big Daddy Gary Goodrich. Other fighters scheduled to participate, Kazushi Sakuraba and Vitor Belfort. Still ahead, Conan tries to remain king of WEF. And Carlos Newton, they call him Ronin. Full Contact Fighter is the undefeated, no-holds-barred news source from around the world. See why fighters and fans alike call it the Bible of no-holds-barred news. Each issue is packed with fighter interviews and live coverage from fights around the world. Also, from Full Contact Fighter, walk like a champion, dress like a champion with Full Contact Fighter clothing and videos, all the best from all over the world. Call today, 718-661-3357, or visit our website at www.fcfighter.com. Conan Silveira has always been intriguing to mixed martial arts fans. It's been known for a long time that he's one of the best practitioners in the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But could he convert that to big-time victories in mixed martial arts? Well, if you're going to try to find out, why not find out against one of the best names? He was scheduled to face Dan the Beast Severn at WEF 9. And a few weeks before that fight, we caught up with Conan Silveira practicing at his dojo in Miami.
Understanding Marcus Conan Silveira is not easy. He is Conan the Barbarian. Superstar in the violent world of no-holds-barred fighting world. His skill and ruthlessness in the ring and cage have made him a force in world extreme fighting. Battle Cage. And the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
You gotta love what you do. And saying like that seems like there was anything in life. If you commit yourself to do something, doesn't matter how hard or how far you gotta go, you do it. And as being a fighter and a no-holds-barred, you know, it of course takes much more than the average, than the regular, you know, person. I know that. Takes a lot from you, you know, your training, your habits to eat, your lifestyle. But it's like I say, if you love, you do it.
He's also Marcus Silveira, sportsman, teacher, and American success story. Marcus came to America to establish a school for his type of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He had studied under the legendary Carlson Gracie, a patriarch of the legendary Gracie family. As a Carlson disciple, he trained separately from his more famous cousin Royce, who was taught by his father Elio.
I think that he's an incredible fighter. You know, I gotta say that he did a lot for the no holds barred, for jiu-jitsu. He put the jiu-jitsu flag on the top. You know, even when he fought in the beginning, nobody knew about that. Nobody knew about no holds barred. You know, what is that? You know, the conception about martial arts, the conception about fight was, you know, very movie stuff. You know, like you can do in the movies, you can do in the real life.
Marcus has become an important part of the Miami martial arts scene. He operates a self-named studio in the South Florida area, as does his brother Marcelo, who has the Boca Black Belt Academy in Boca Raton, Florida. Marcus's studio caters to martial artists of all ages and sizes.
Put your knees down. Sit, relax, right there. When I say side control, go to the side control. Side control, you go to the other side. Very good. Yes. Exactly. I think that what I want to keep doing to the day I die is sharing my knowledge, my skills with people and help them, you know, be able to defend themselves a little bit better, or give them a different a vision of life. You know, make sure that everybody can believe in themselves, they can do something. They really can go for what they expect in life.
On the surface, he appears as a man living two distinct lives, benevolent teacher and professional fighter. But in reality, he's a decent man, dedicated to his sport and committed to excellence in every aspect of his life.
Always training hard, always, you know, putting myself 100%, and, you know, try to do my best in life.
The card for WEF 9 in Evansville, Indiana was an amazing one. There were great fights all throughout the card, but you could get a sense in this building that the tension was growing for the headline bout. A fight between two big men, Conan Silveira trying to prove that he belongs in big-time mixed martial arts, and Dan the Beast Severin, one of the originators, one of the first big names in mixed martial arts, trying to prove that he still belonged. I was backstage before this fight, and I can tell you the tension, the feeling was electric.
Dan working a little pressure here to try to punch to the face of Conan. Nice elbow. Conan's a very, very patient fighter. He's going to be very patient from here. He's not going to take a lot of risks. Going to try to minimize Severin's offense.
Big forearm or elbow there from Severin.
I think that those are racking up a little damage there.
Is that it?
Is that it?
It's over. Conan is done. And the Beast, Dan Severin, with the victory and an early one at that.
Wow.
Hey, I feel like I was almost one of those that was duped before the fight. A lot of people saying Conan Silveira was the favorite, that Dan the Beast Severin was too old, maybe washed up at 42 years of age. But a lot of the insiders, the people in the know, said never count the Beast out. Technically, he's sound, he's extremely tough, and his experience in the ring in mixed martial arts would pay off, and it did. Dan the Beast Severin showing once again that he is still at the top of his game, even at 42 years of age. Congratulations on a big victory. As for the next WEF card, we've now been told that Mark Kerr's return is on hold, but they'll be staging WEF 10 at the end of August in Georgia. The headline bout will be Jens Pulver facing Dean Thomas, and that should decide who is the best 155-pound fighter in North America right now. And coming up next, Carlos Newton, the Canadian Zen warrior.
Full Contact Fighter is the undefeated, no-holds-barred news source from around the world. See why fighters and fans alike call it the Bible of no-holds-barred news. Each issue is packed with fighter interviews and live coverage from fights around the world. Also, from Full Contact Fighter, walk like a champion, dress like a champion with Full Contact Fighter clothing and videos, all the best from all over the world. Call today, 718-661-3357, or visit our website at www.fcfighter.com.
I have been a no-holds-barred champion all over the world. I have won Vale Tudo competitions in Brazil, where I'm known as the Smashing Machine. I'm undefeated in UFC competitions. I fought in Japan where I've destroyed many of the best fighters in the world. Now, I want to fight the best, and the best is in World Extreme Fighting.
Mark Kerr is coming to America. There's nobody like Carlos Newton. Carlos Newton was born in the West Indies. He grew up in Canada. He's trained and fought in Canada, the United States, Europe, and Southeast Asia. Technically, he's one of the best fighters in the world. In terms of toughness, there are few tougher than Carlos Newton. But perhaps what stands out with Carlos Newton, the Zen warrior, is the fact that he is one of the most intriguing characters in all of mixed martial arts.
Being a hero is like having certain qualities in yourself. As a young person growing up, from the time I was a kid, I always wanted to know, do I have that essence?
Imagine searching for deeper meaning or enlightenment in no-holds-barred fighting. Seems strange, yet it's what drives one of the sport's most enigmatic characters, Canadian Carlos Newton. The Japanese call him Ronin after their storied warriors, fighters moved by spirit as much as strength.
A lot of times your opponent is not as strong as you think he is, and he's not as weak as you think he is. And the same thing with yourself. You know, in that, don't be proud to be strong in that. Understand it, learn how to use it, treat it with respect, and don't be afraid to be weak. You know that you have your place, and everyone else does. Have respect for yourself and respect for others.
At only 23 years of age, Carlos has already been competing in no-holds-barred competitions for 3 years. He's made a name for himself competing against the world's best in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, as well as Japanese promotions Shuto and Pride. His most impressive fight may have been the one he lost to a larger Kazushi Sakuraba, the man whom many consider to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. The match was one of the most entertaining technical contests in NHB history, with Sakuraba winning by leg submission. His critics point to the Sakuraba loss and his 2 others as a result of his lack of aggression. His laid-back nature doesn't seem suited to such a violent and aggressive sport.
Outside of the ring, he's a soft person. I mean that in a good way. I mean, he's the type of guy that would stop his car in the middle of the highway and get a puppy out of the road. You know, I mean, he's that kind of guy. And I love that about him because he's like, he's that warrior poet type kind of guy.
He doesn't start off fast usually. He usually takes shots to the face to get him warmed up. He doesn't have any temper at all in his personality. So he has to get hit a few times before he realizes, oh, this is the big show. It's time to perform.
I've taken no joy in beating someone that's not my level, not my parallel. In that way, how do you run a race side by side? Not with someone who's totally heading in a different direction or not going the same way you are. And it's like, to get you going, you need that. Everyone needs that. Everyone. Doesn't matter how we do it. Everyone does it some way or another every day. And this is my way.
Mature beyond his years, Carlos takes a Zen-like approach to his sport. He may not be seeking titles as much as experience. Like the Ronin we read about in the history books, he travels the world testing himself against other warriors. Like the ancient Eastern philosophers, he uses his experiences to learn more about himself and his universe.
Overall, that's how I view each opponent. They're a step in a series of, probably the first step in my journey. It's like, I know I'm going to be doing this for the next 10 years at least. I'm only 23. And each guy is like an experience, a different dream, Every time, every training session is just a little bit different. And you feel yourself grow each time, every time.
Having been involved in martial arts since he was 6, it's natural to see why Carlos has adopted the lifestyle. He's a world traveler who has no problem showing up at martial arts dojo, asking for a place to train, sleep, and learn about new culture. He's a modern-day Zen warrior, a man literally fighting for a higher cause.
When you're in there and you feel that this person is what you were looking for, you awaken. You're no longer just that person. You become all those things when you were a kid, all those superhero things you've read about, all those things you admired. You actually feel your blood boiling and your heightened state.
I've known Carlos Newton for a few years. Guy Mesger says he's too nice to be a fighter. I'm not sure that that's true. He's definitely a nice guy, but the thing about Carlos Newton is this. He has an inner confidence that allows him not to go around boasting, look what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do this or that. He just says, you know what? I'll give it my best shot. We'll see how I do. But then he gives you that little boy smile that says, I think I'll do okay. How did he do? WEF9, Carlos Newton, his return against Carl Schmidt when we return. As we go to break, don't forget if you'd like to purchase any WEF, UFC, or Pancrase tapes, just log on to the Full Contact Fighter website at www.fcfighter.com or give us a call at 718-661-3357. The next UFC is scheduled for September the 22nd, and it will be headlined by Tito Ortiz.
Full Contact Fighter is the undefeated, no-holds-barred news source from around the world. See why fighters and fans alike call it the Bible of no-holds-barred news. Each issue is packed with fighter interviews and live coverage from fights around the world. Also, from Full Contact Fighter, walk like a champion, dress like a champion with Full Contact Fighter clothing and videos, all the best from all over the world. Call today, 718-661-3357, or visit our website at www.fcfighter.com.
I have been a no-holds-barred champion all over the world. I have won Vale Tudo competitions in Brazil, where I'm known as the Smashing Machine. I'm undefeated in UFC competitions where they call me the Specimen. I have fought in Japan, where I've destroyed many of the best fighters in the world. Now, I want to fight the best, and the best is in World Extreme Fighting.
Mark Kerr is coming to America. You know, on paper, this was an easy sell. Very difficult to figure out what would happen. Carlos Newton, very experienced, world-renowned, known as one of the best fighters, but making a return to the ring after almost a year absence. How ready would he be? Facing Carl Schmidt, the former Marine, fast improving, thought of as one of the best specimens in all of mixed martial arts. This is one tough man. So all of us wondered, what would happen? Carl Schmidt, Carlos Newton, it did not take very long to find an answer at WEF9.
I think Schmidt will come out and take it to Newton. Newton's a very tactical and technical fighter. Nice left hand immediately there.
And Schmidt gets Newton down. Carlos Newton from Toronto, just outside of Toronto, we're told.
I've seen Newton in the Pancration trials earlier this year, and I must say this guy obliterated 4 straight opponents, all in under a minute by submission. You could probably look for Carlos to go for some submissions.
He's right now sitting in that guard position. Is Schmidt on top?
Jeff, between your video production and the amount of fights that you guys put on, you've probably seen more fights than anybody in this sport. What do you look for in a fight like this? As you see two fighters you've seen, matched up with some common opponents and etc.
As you said, Schmidt is kind of untested, whereas Newton, as I said earlier, has been in every major promotion. And there he's going for an armbar right there.
Somebody's bleeding there.
Somebody's bleeding profusely.
And that is it.
That's it.
It's over. Carlos Newton, a very, very impressive victory.
That's a great win for Carlos Newton. It wasn't just the speed with which he disposed of Carl Schmidt, but also how he did it. He hit him with a great left standing up, and then when they got down on the mat, of course, Carlos Newton is the master, the Zen master. And the Zen master went to Japan, Pride number 9, about a month later, and he was equally impressive. So much to talk about and so little time. That's always our lament. If you have any comments or questions about this show, you can visit our website at www.fcfighter.com or email us at fcfnews@aol.com. And next week, believe it, we've got Mark the Hammer Coleman coming up to be a very special guest host, the Hammer on Full Contact Fighter. So in terms of guest hosts, who has a better roster than this? Coleman next week. Kevin Randleman, the UFC champion in the past. The world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, on this set as well. And don't forget Mike Goldberg, the UFC play-by-play man, hosted this show as well. Bringing you the personalities, bringing you the stories and the best fights from around the world. That's what Full Contact Fighter is all about. For all of us that work on this show, I'm Michael Landsberg. Thanks for joining us this week, and I'll see you next week with the Hammer, Mark Pullman.